chill out for a little bit. So today we're going to talk about a couple of things, but some of the things I'm going to talk about is children. Since our children are at home, our kids thought that spring break was going to be over and they will be back at school and finishing up their last weeks of school. But as they found out, they had another week off, and that next week off was cool. Everybody enjoyed that next week because we got 2 weeks off. I'm loving this. We could do this. We could do this. But then we realized that wasn't going to be it. So our kids realized, and so did we, that we were going to be off some more. We were going to have some more days off, a couple of weeks off. And that couple of weeks caused some problems in the homes because not only were we off school, our entire state, or I'll say the United States, were on shutdown. So everybody was at home. Everybody's at home. So for the kids, the only thing they got to do was they did get to do some schoolwork, electronically, which was good, which was great, because that's what needed to happen. But also the kids were stuck in the house. And, the kids missed their friends at school. They missed the teachers at school that they liked and didn't like. Their whole life, because their life was school. School was when they, not got away to play, but it was their life, because they were their friends and everything. So they began to, as we know now, missing them. But what I want to say to parents is we need to remember that along with us as adults who are dealing with the fact that we're locked in the house too, we can only go to the grocery store or post office. It's about the only essential places that we can actually go. And other than that, we're in the house. Well, when you're in the house, a couple of things happen. One, boredom. Boredom sets in, and that's followed by anger. It is, because if you're bored after a while, you get angry because you are bored, and this is ridiculous. And this is something that we're not set up and set out to do, is to stay at home. So you need to realize, of course, with you getting angry and bored, so is the child. They are, because they're stuck in the house all day. They're not used to that. This isn't their life. This is not supposed to happen according to them, but it is. So parents, I want you to remember that as much as you're going through it, so are the kids in different ways. They, some people, when they're depressed or down, they stay in the bed longer. They sleep longer. They don't want to get up. Well, that could be the same with children. They go through depression. They go through, I don't know what's really going on. They go through those things, and their actions of that are outside of the action that they normally have. So I'm not saying that everything your kid did is due to that, but remember that they're going through the same thing, but for them, it's even harder. Because we kind of understand why we're going through this. We understand. We know that this is a virus. We know that it's very, very, very contagious. And we know that it's in the air, so we understand the precautions. We don't like them, but we understand them. But your kids, to them, they're used to asking mom or dad or whoever they live with what's going on. And they're used to an answer of exactly what's going on. Well, the answer you're going to give them is that there's this virus going around. Well, they've heard the word virus before because the flu is a virus. So, you got to go into a little more deeper explanation other than just a virus. Also, they're going to ask you, when am I going back to school? Well, the worst thing you want to tell your child ever is, I don't know. So we were telling, everybody was telling their kids, I don't know. I don't know. Well, that's frustrating because remember, as parents or guardians of a child, the one thing we're supposed to have is that you do know why these things happen and why they're going through all of that. But now we have to tell the kids, I don't know. You were telling them, I really don't know. When is this virus going to go away, kids will ask. And as a parent, once again, or guardian, we're saying the same thing. I don't know. So every answer we were giving them was, I don't know. But that's not normally what you give your child, because normally you give your child a real answer. When is this flu going to be over? When flu season's over. We had an answer. But now you don't. So that's frustrating for them. So we need to talk to our kids. We need to explain what's going on to them and really explain it. Don't say it's like the flu, because it isn't like the flu. Because, they'll tell you in a minute, well, with the flu, I can go outside. So it's not like the flu. So explain to them on their level as much as you can. Not to say it's going to help them through this, but at least they'll have a little more understanding of what's exactly going on why they have to stay in the house, or why they can't go outside and play with their friends. Because they'll say, oh, he's clean, I could go. Well, they don't understand. They need to know it's more than just he's clean and he washes his hands or whatever. So talk to your kids. And like I said, some of the things that they might be doing that they don't normally do, make sure that they're not going through a piece of depression. Make sure they're not going through some anxiety because, like I said, their life has been altered. And we don't see it into it either. So neither do they. They don't see it into this. For them, a week is forever. Because, kids say, we've been doing this forever, and it's been a week. Well, it's been more than a week now. And they're still going through this, and they don't understand why. And we haven't explained why, because one thing for sure is we don't know. And that's what we're giving our kids the hardest answer. Also, we need neighbors and friends to be careful. Because when these things happen, parents get frustrated. Because if your parent is laid off from work or lost their job due to this, you're now double upset. Because not only can't you leave your house, you can't even find another job. So anger builds in. And the person we take it out on most is the youngest and the most innocent one. It ends up being the child. It really does. It ends up being the child because now you have your kid at home. You're at home. You don't have a job. You got to wait for unemployment. This kid's asking you 50 questions and not asking you any more than they normally do. Just that now they got a longer time to do it. They got all day. So frustration builds up. But parents, guardians, foster parents, all kind of adults who have a child, just remember that you can't take it out on the kid. Can't take it out on an adult either, but do not take it out on the kid. If you're upset with your child, go for a walk around the block. You can do that. You can go around the block. You can walk around your block. There's no rules on that because there won't be 10 of you. It'll just be you. But walk around the block to shake that off. If you're a runner, run around the block and shake that off. Let your garage up and sit out there and beat up the garage. Go throw some grass seed on your grass. Go do something. But don't look at that child and target that kid because the child didn't do anything. The child didn't start the virus. The child didn't shut your job down or put you on layoff. The child didn't do any of that. So let's not take that anger out. And neighbors and friends, if you know someone who has a short fuse like that, check up on them. Call them up. Call them up. Because if it's somebody you know their voices when they talk to you where they are. So if you call one of your friends and they got smaller kids and the kid I'm about to hit the roof. Then you catch that roof for them and say, hey, why don't you go walk around the block? Go jog around the block. Go sit outside for, a little bit to get yourself together and come back in. But don't let them take it out on their child and say, well, they didn't have nothing else to do. No, let's help them. So those of you who have friends who got that little fuse, and when that fuse hit, they do something crazy, call them and make sure the child's okay. Do that. Because even though we're in this virus, we're still a community. Even though the virus is out there, we're still family people. And I'm not saying overlook the virus, but even though it's there, it doesn't mean we need to stop contacting people and seeing how they are. So contact them. Make sure they're okay. Make sure the kids are okay. If you feel like they're out of the, like I said, gonna blow it a little bit there. If they got family members, to contact the family and say, hey, listen, you might want to go get so-and-so's kids, because she's not working with it right now. So, do that. But be mindful that your children are going through something more than you, because as adults, we don't like it, but we can deal a little better. Little kids, they don't. This is not working for them. Like I said, because we took away their life. And little pre-Ks and kindergarten kids, school is their life. School is their whole life because they gossip. And, I want to let you know now, your pre-Ks are the most gossiping little short people around because they don't have a life. So their life is home. So when they come to school, they talk about everything that happened in the house. If you had an argument, they talk about it. They sit in the hallway before they go to class and they gossiping. Then they got to out-gossip each other. They do just like adults do. If my mother baked the cake last night and I'm a pre-K and I go to school and say my mother baked the cake, then you're going to say my mother baked 2 pies. And it does go on. It gets there, to where the parent baked almost 10 cakes and 15 pies, but they do that, and that's their life. And you got to figure, even though they're little people, they're missing some of their life too. And they're going to have the most questions of why, and when. So be mindful of them. The little short people are going to ask you a lot of questions. And yes, it is going to frustrate you. I mean, it is. You're human. But look at it to see that their life has been taken away and changed. And they don't understand quite why. Like I said, all the kids know what a virus is because they hear it in school. We tell them a flu is a virus. So they hear that word virus, but they attach it to the flu only or to a cold only. So make sure you explain to them that this virus we have here, tell them what it is, give them the name of it, because you'll be surprised. They're smarter than you think you are, than they are. They're smart, and they'll understand it and they'll get it. So let's save and protect our children. Then we're going to move up to line 2, domestic violence. Same thing happens. Same thing. Mom is at home with the kids because the kids are out of school. Mom's at home with the kids. Dad comes home. I lost my job. Not because he was acting crazy, but due to this virus and the slowdown in most businesses. So he comes home and he's laid off. Okay, so he's a little angry about it. Yeah, he's a little angry about it. But he said, I'm going to go file unemployment. Okay. He's still a little angry about it. Days are going to set in and he don't have nowhere to go. Can't go out. Can't go see his buddies. No, we can't do that. So he's at home. Well, he's not wanting to stay at home. So, and if he's already an abusive husband or a boyfriend that stays there, he's going to become abusive again. And the one thing, we don't want that to happen. So if you women are in an abusive relationship and you need to get out, the same numbers you had to call in the beginning are the same numbers you have right now. They haven't changed. The numbers are the same. So you can call for help and call your friends for help. Build up a secret code, where if you call them and say something that you can get away. And what I mean by a code is, let's just say you call your friend on the phone and you asked her, is her jewelry really $5, or is it just says $5 and it's more? Well, she'll know that that's a code for she needs to do something for you, which is call whoever needs to be called. That's her code. The jewelry is her code. And if she doesn't know your address, you're going to go once again and pretend you're having this whole conversation, because she's going to say, you want me to mail it to you or bring it to you? You'll say, can you have it delivered to me? Yes. She's going to ask you your address, even though she might know it. You're going to give her your address because, remember, this jewelry is mailed to you. So all of that is what you build between some friends. So if something happens to you and you need to make the phone call, you need to call a friend or two friends, have a code for you and them where they can understand that something is wrong and I need help. Friends, build that code with some of the friends that you know are in abusive situations. Don't say we got the virus and you got to deal with it. No, she does not. She does not. It doesn't stop. It doesn't say, oh, well, we got to take a break now. The virus is here. I cannot help you. No, that's not true. So if you're in a relationship like that, build a little secret thing, code with one of your friends or two of your friends that you can utilize, and that it doesn't sound weird, it doesn't sound impossible, because it's very easy to say. Call a friend, is your jewelry really $5 or is it just on sale? Oh, no, it's really $5. You want a pair? Yes, I do. You want me to mail it to you or bring it to you? Oh, can you mail it? What's your address? Boom. Okay, but you've given her a whole code on what you need her to do. And to the other end of the phone, you just sound like you're getting some jewelry. That's all you sound like. You're getting some $5 jewelry, and that's not going to be a suspicious thing. So build a code, have it ready. But remember, even though we're going through this pandemic, domestic violence or child abuse is still treated the same way. The same numbers you call, the same people, the same services, they're still there. The services, they're still there. If you call the shelter, the battered women's shelter, guess what? They're still there. They're still open. They're there. They're there. They are essential. So don't think that because of this you have nowhere to go and no one to call. You still have the same numbers to call. You have the same people to contact, because you don't know, but you might want you don't know, and you most likely don't. But the same numbers that you call for both, remember they're essential personnel. They have a 24-hour hotline. So if there's a child in a violent situation, help them. If there's an adult, help them. Same numbers, people. Same numbers. Don't forget that. The numbers did not change. They are the same numbers that we've always had. But we got to look out for our neighbors and our friends during this time. Because, frustration hits, it's the whole family. It's the whole family all the way down the line. It is the whole family. So don't think that, we're in this and you're stuck in this situation. No, you're not. Never. Those things don't change. So, like I said, let's look out for our little people and let's look out for our friends that we know might be going through something. Also, our senior citizens. Our senior citizens, as we've learned, are the most vulnerable, but they're not the only ones. It seems that our younger people are too. But our older senior citizens, a lot of them, not all of them, their immune systems aren't strong as they were before. So they're not leaving their house. They are not leaving their house. So it becomes upon us, and it doesn't have to be your grandmother or whatever, just somebody call them. How you doing? What do you need? They might need something from the store. You can either go get it for them or let them know that we have some stores that deliver. Deliver. Now, there's a delivery fee with that, but they do deliver. So call your senior citizens up in your area that you know. How you doing? If they got an ailment or whatever. How's your blood sugar? How's your blood pressure? How's your... all these things. How are you eating at least twice a day? If they say no, there's a problem. And I'm not saying for you to take food over there to feed them, but, I'll put it this way. Call me and let me know. Me, myself, Kiki Williams, and a couple other women, we do make sure that senior citizens eat. We either put them in contact to the health center and they can get food delivered to them, or either we found ways to get restaurants to give food to them to make sure they eat. So while we're having this pandemic and what I'm going to do, well, there's a lot of things you can do. One, call your senior citizens. I took it the whole week, and every day, I've called a few more, because I wasn't going to call them all in one day, because it was a conversation, others was just, hey, how you doing? You got everything you need? Yes, okay, boom, goodbye. But call them up, see how they're doing. You don't know how they're doing, and if they don't answer the phone for a while, and something's really wrong, they need to answer the phone, they normally do, then you can call your police department and get a welfare check. A welfare check does not damage anybody. A welfare check is simply they can get in the house and find out everything is right or wrong. They can actually get in there and, check on them, see what's up, what's going on. And it does work. I know one day every morning, I used to drive past this lady's house every morning. And she'd be outside, laying in the grass, digging out weeds. So one day I drove by. She wasn't out there. I was like, where's she at? And I didn't think nothing of it because it was one day. She could have changed her routine. But the next day I drove past, she wasn't out there. I'm like, that's not good. So I drove, when I left work, I came back, and we were doing summer school. So I came back home, and she still wasn't there. I wasn't going to go knock on her door because I don't know what was going on. So I called the police department and let them know that, it was an older lady. And I let them know every morning she was outside, laying in the grass, picking up weeds. And I know that because I walked one day around our block, and I came by and I, said hello to her, how you doing? And she let me know. And I told her, I see you every morning. So I knew I knew exactly what she was doing. So, I called the police department, and the officer came, and I came down, with him. And the first thing he did was something unusual, is he called the water. I didn't think about that. But anyway, he called the water company or the water department to see if her water was shut off. He said, because if it was shut off, then he would know that she most likely moved. But her water wasn't shut off. Okay, so I'm looking at him like, okay, wasn't shut off. What do you, I'm thinking, what do you do next, So he went to the door. He knocked on the front door. He went on to the back. He knocked on the back door. Still nobody had answered. And I'm looking at him like, so what's your next move? To me, because I don't know what he's going to do next. So he checked her doors. And he checked the back door because we were back there. The back door, it was locked. Checked the front door. Front door was open though. And he asked me, was that her SUV in the front yard, in the garage, in the driveway? And it was hers. It was hers. Well, since her door was open, he told me, you stay outside, and he went in. Well, luckily he went in because she was laying on the floor. She wasn't dead. She wasn't dead, but she fell that morning before she could get outside. She fell. She fell away from her, and she didn't have her phone with her. So she had just been basically laying there hoping somebody, something. So, she was laying there, and he called 911, and she went to the hospital. But that was only because I was paying attention to her, and after that with her, happening with her the way it did, it made me like, man, how many times did everybody drive past and nobody realized that? But, with our senior citizens, especially now, we need to call them up and we need to pay attention to them because, like I said, their immune systems aren't strong anymore. Some aren't. I'll put it that way, some, because not that they've let themselves go. That could have been the built of their body. But like I said, during these times, call them up, call your friends, and we know to call our relatives, but call them up to see if they're okay. Call them up to just say, hey, and if some of them, would go out, but, with this virus, they're staying in. So just check out, have a little conversation with them. How's this? What are you looking at on TV? Those are the things to get the conversation rolling. So guess what? So you can make sure they're really okay. Because if they're not okay, that conversation will go crazy. It won't go right. And it'll give you some hints of, I need to stop by. I might need to do something other than, talking to them on the phone. So let's check on our senior citizens, make sure they're okay. And I know it's a lot of checking, but guess what? We're at home anyway. We are at home. We're not going nowhere, but make sure that they're okay. And like I said, check on your friends who got the little short fuse. Check on them and make sure that they're okay and that their kids are okay. Because if not, like I said, the same numbers used before, use them again. So all in all, what I'm saying is we need to check on each other. We need to do the things we should have been doing anyway. But right now, call them, check on them. It won't hurt anything. In fact, it will help a whole lot. But like I said, just call them, check on them, see what they're doing, see how they are. If they're not doing anything, if they're not doing well, go over there. Wear a mask. Do wear a mask because they're older. But check on them and see if they're doing fine and make sure everything is okay. And just going on back home. It's not costing us anything to do any of these things that we're doing. It doesn't cost us. It doesn't cost us nothing but a little bit of time. A little bit. And, while we're at home being bored, write a book. Start writing, Do some checks. The first day of this virus, I was fine. The first week, I was okay. Second week, wait a minute, hold up. A couple of things started happening. Do a journal. Do an everyday journal of your family, you all in the house. Do a journal of what you've learned about your kids, what you've learned about yourself. I learned, I've learned that I think, it's just me, I'm like, how do people stay at home every day? I was thinking, how do people do this? What do they do at home every day? So I was trying to figure out what people could possibly do all day and just stay in the house. So 2 days actually, I tried looking at soap operas. I was like, because I know I'm like, some people look at home, sit at home, they look at soap operas. Let me look at a soap opera. I looked at it, I'm like, no, that's not it. I work at a soap opera. Forget that. I work at a school. I'm like, that's not it. So I'm like, okay, they have game shows. All right. Well, that's not it. So I tried looking at the talk shows. That's not it either. So I realized that is not Phyllis. It is not her. I'm like, okay, so forget that whole idea. So I decided, I'm like, you know what? I'm a journal. I'm going to do that. So I do that, and I got into that. I said, and then I'm going to read all the books, the procrastination part you were doing, because we all procrastinate about something. I'm like, okay, all these books over there that I've been procrastinating about reading, I'm going to start reading them. So I started doing that because that I can do. But I realized after 3 days of being in the house, I was going crazy. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Okay, I am not one that's going to go in the store and walk around. I can't do that. I have to go in the store and get what I get and walk out. I am the weird one. I cannot walk around the store. And I was talking to a friend of mine. She said, go walk the store. I'm like, are you crazy? I don't do that. She says, you don't know. I don't know how to do that. I can't. She goes, I can do that. I can't do that. If I need a spoon, I'm going to go to the store and buy that one spoon and walk back out, and I'm happy as I don't know what because I got the one spoon. So I can't walk out of the store. So, I'm like, okay, forget it. I need to walk the track. I do work out in the morning at home. I'm like, okay, I need to walk the track. But I thought of things where I could get out of the house and not put myself or anybody else in danger. So I'm like, okay, forget it. Let me just walk the track. That I can do, So I found out reading and walking the track and journaling was my friends while this is going on. And I realized television with soap operas and talk shows and I looked at the judge thing, all the judges. I was like, for real, people are this crazy to bring this on court, to bring this. I'm like, no, that got to be crazy. I'm like, there's got to be a better life to this. So I realized that I'm not the stay-at-home person. I can't, after 3 days, I got to go somewhere, anywhere, somewhere, but just not roaming the stores. I can't do that because that would cause me to lose my mind. I tried to do that one day because a friend of mine, same friend, she does it. I tried that one day. I'm like, no, this is craziness. So I've learned a lot about, and also during the time you can learn things about yourself. Like I learned about me. After 3 days, no, I couldn't do it. I mean, after 3 days, I hated everything in my house, including the house. I ain't like nothing, so find something to do during these times. Because if you got school kids, we know now school is not going to start back until August. That's a long time. Vacations, you might have a vacation, you might not. Depends on where you're going and what's going on. Because remember, you can't go to Louisiana and they can't get out, so that's out. So think of some creative things to do. Your children are creative. Let them create some things for you all to do. If you ever wanted to do some baking, bake. You want to do whatever you can do to break that stress of this mundane sitting at home. And by all means, don't do that. Don't just sit. Don't wake up, get dressed, and sit. No, wake up, get dressed, and plan your day of what you're going to do and actually get it done. It's time to get all those procrastination issues we had, Like, I have some fabric in my house, and I sew, and I cut it out. And I was going to sew it one day. Well, the one day already came, so I did it, So all those, I'll do this one day. I'll do this as soon as I can. I'll do this whenever. All those days we have soon as I can. We have whenever. We have I'll get to it whenever. I'll get to it when it comes up. Well, all those days are here now. All those days. They're all here because we still can't go nowhere. They're all here, so get rid of your procrastination list. Just get rid of it. It works. It's fine. Even though you wanted to keep it just to procrastinate about it, do that. Do those creative things. Men, do your creative things. All people have creativity. It's just do we use it? But now that we're going through this, please use your creativity and do something and not go crazy, bored, stir crazy. Because you get to that point, you're in some serious trouble. So we're going to talk enough about that.